Summertime in Milan in 1918, despite the hot weather, sounds perfectly lovely. It's filled with leisurely afternoons and socializing with colorful characters. But by contrast, the nightly conversations between Fred and Catherine, especially when it rains, portend that something sinister awaits them. My name is Trisha Slapizio. I'm the host of Tea and Bedtime Stories. In this episode, we'll continue reading Ernest Hemingway's novel A Farewell to Arms. Last time we finished Chapter 19 in Book 2, and now I'll continue the story with Chapter 20. After reading the chapter, I'll follow up with more quick facts and my impressions. So let's begin reading Chapter 20 of Book 2. One day in the afternoon, we went to the races. Ferguson went too, and Crowell Rogers, the boy who had been wounded in the eyes by the explosion of the shell nose cap. The girls dressed to go after lunch, while Crowell and I sat on the bed in his room and read the past performances of the horses and the predictions in the racing paper. Crowell's head was bandaged, and he did not care much about the races, but read the racing paper constantly and kept track of all the horses for something to do. He said the horses were a terrible lot, but they were all the horses we had. Old Myers liked him and gave him tips. Myers won on nearly every race, but disliked to give tips because it brought down the prices. The racing was very crooked. Men who had been ruled off the turf everywhere else were racing in Italy. Myers' information was good, but I hated to ask him because sometimes he did not answer, and always you could see it hurt him to tell you, but he felt obligated to tell us for some reason, and he hated less to tell Crowell. Crowell's eyes had been hurt. One was hurt badly, and Myers had trouble with his eyes, so he liked Crowell. Myers never told his wife what horses he was playing, and she won or lost, mostly lost, and talked all the time. We four drove out to San Siro in an open carriage. It was a lovely day, and we drove out through the park and out along the tramway and out of town where the road was dusty. There were villas with iron fences and big overgrown gardens and ditches with water flowing and green vegetable gardens with dust on the leaves. We could look across the plain and see farmhouses and the rich, green farms with their irrigation ditches and the mountains to the north. There were many carriages going into the racetrack, and the men at the gate let us in without cards because we were in uniform. We left the carriage, bought programs, and walked across the infield and then across the smooth, thick turf of the course to the paddock. The grandstands were old and made of wood, and the Betty booths were under the stands and in a row out near the stables. There was a crowd of soldiers along the fence in the infield. The paddock was fairly well filled with people, and they were walking the horses around in the ring under the trees behind the grandstands. We saw people we knew and got chairs for Ferguson and Catherine and watched the horses. They went around one after the other, their heads down, the grooms leading them. One horse, a purplish black, Crowell swore was dyed that color. We watched him, and it seemed possible he had only come out just before the bell rang to saddle. We looked him up in the program for a number on the groom's arm, and it was listed as a black gelding named Japalak. The race was for horses that had never won a race worth 1,000 lire or more. Catherine was sure his color had been changed. Ferguson said she could not tell. I thought he looked suspicious. We all agreed we ought to back him and pulled 100 lire. The odd sheets showed he would pay 35 to 1. Crowell went over and bought the tickets, while we watched the jockeys ride around once more, and then go out under the trees to the track and gallop slowly up to the turn where the start was to be. We went up to the grandstand to watch the race. They had no electric barrier at San Siro then, and the starter lined up all the horses. They looked very small way up the track, and then sent them off with a crack of his long whip. They came past us with the black horse well in front, and on the turn he was running away from the others. I watched them on the far side with the glasses and saw the jockey fighting to hold him in, and he could not hold him in. and when they came around the turn and into the stretch, the black horse was 15 lengths ahead of the others. He went way up on and around the turn after the finish. "Isn't it wonderful?" Catherine said. "We'll have over 3,000 lire. He must be a splendid horse. I hope his color doesn't run," Kroll said, "before they pay off." "He was really a lovely horse," Catherine said. "I wonder if Mr. Myers backed him." "Did you have the winner?" I called to Myers. He nodded. "I didn't," Mrs. Myers said. "Who did you children bet on?" "Japalac." "Really? He's 35 to 1. We liked his color. I didn't. I thought he looked seedy. They told me not to back him." "He won't pay much," Myers said. "He's marked 35 to 1 in the quotes," I said. "He won't pay much." At the last minute, Myers said, "They put a lot of money on him." "Who?" "Kempton and the boys. You'll see. He won't pay 2 to 1. "Then we won't get the 3,000 lire," Catherine said. "I don't like this crooked racing." "We'll get 200 lire. "That's nothing. That doesn't do us any good. I thought we were going to get 3,000. "It's crooked and disgusting," Ferguson said. "Of course," said Catherine. "If it hadn't been crooked, we never'd have backed him at all. But I would have liked the 3,000 lire. Let's go down and get a drink and see what they pay," Kroll said. We went out to where they posted the numbers, and the bell rang to pay off, and they put up 1850 after Japalac to win. That many paid less than even money on a 10-liter bet. We went to the bar under the grandstand and had a whiskey and soda apiece. We ran into a couple of Italians we knew and McAdams, the vice consul, and they came up with us when we joined the girls. The Italians were full of manners, and McAdams talked to Catherine while we went down to bed again. Mr. Myers was standing near the pari-mutuel. "Ask him what he paid," I said to Kroll. "What are you on, Mr. Myers?" "Oh, ask him what he played. What are you on, Mr. Myers?" Kroll asked. Myers took out his program and pointed to the number 5 with his pencil. "Do you mind if we play him too?" Kroll asked. Go ahead, but don't tell my wife I gave it to you." "Will you have a drink?" I asked. "No thanks, I never drink." We put 100 lire on number 5 to win and 100 to place, and then had another whiskey and soda apiece. I was feeling very good, and we picked up a couple more Italians, who each had a drink with us, and went back to the girls. These Italians were also very mannered and matched manners with the 2 we had collected before. In a little while, no one could sit down. I gave the tickets to Catherine. "What horse is it?" "I don't know, Mr. Myers' choice." "Don't you even know the name?" "No, you can find it on the program, number 5, I think." "You have touching faith," she said. "The number 5 won, but did not pay anything." Mr. Myers was angry. "You have to put up 200 lire to make 20, he said. 12 lire for 10. It's not worth it. My wife lost 20 lire. "I'll go down with you," Catherine said to me. The Italians all stood up. We went downstairs and out to the paddock. "Do you like this?" Catherine asked. "Yes, I guess I do." "It's all right, I suppose," she said, "but darling, I can't stand to see so many people." "We don't see many." "No, but those Myers and the man from the bank with his wife and daughters, he cashes my sight drafts," I said. "Yes, but someone else would if he didn't. Those last 4 boys were awful." "We can stay out here and watch the races from the fence. That would be lovely. And, darling, let's back a horse we've never heard of and that Mr. Myers won't be backing." "All right." We backed a horse named Light for Me that finished 4th in a field of 5. We leaned on the fence and watched the horses go by, their hoofs thudding as they went past, and saw the mountains off in the distance and Milan beyond the trees and the fields. "I feel so much cleaner," Catherine said. The horses were coming back through the gate, wet and sweating. the jockeys quieting them and riding up to dismount under the trees. "Would you like a drink? We could have one here and see the horses." "I'll get them," I said. "The boy will bring them," Catherine said. She put her hand up and the boy came from the pagoda bar beside the stables. We sat down and around iron table. "Don't you like it better when we're alone?" "Yes," I said. "I felt very lonely when we were all there." "It's grand here," I said. "Yes, it's really pretty. It's a really pretty course. It's nice. Don't let me spoil your fun, darling. I'll go back whenever you want." "No," I said, "we'll stay here and have our drink. Then we'll go down and stand at the water jump for the steeplechase." "You're awfully good to me," she said. After we had been alone a while, we were glad to see the others again. We had a good time. That concludes Chapter 20 of Book 2. So a few quick facts. Sinister was a racetrack. It's located just outside of the heart of the city of Milan. Just west, I guess, of the city. It's a soccer stadium and amphitheater. I'm sorry, a football stadium. My bad. The tramway is the city railway crossing, I guess. And a paddock is a small, usually fenced-in area where the horses graze and where they're sometimes allowed to roam freely. Infield is the area usually inside the circular track. I used to play golf at the infield of the Portland Raceway. Neither here nor there. But it was always really fun because inside the circle they have a 9-hole golf course. And in the summertime, you can play night golf. So it's kind of cool. There's just like a glow stick that's taped to the pin. And then you have a clear ball with a little glow stick inside. And so that's all you can see are the stars and the ball and the hole. It's really fun. But anyway, I'm not a fan of horse racing otherwise. A gelding is a male horse. Well, it's any infertile horse, but it usually refers to a male horse that's been castrated. I think it's a horrible practice. But they do it because they think it breaks the spirit of the stallion. It's believed to reduce aggressive behavior, prevent unwanted breeding, obviously, and make the horse easier to train and handle. And the sight drafts, if you remember, are promissory notes used for cash withdrawals. You just basically take money from a bank and get your relatives to promise to pay for it. But those are all the quick facts for this chapter. My impressions, I hate to say it, but Catherine is a hypocritical snob and a half. She was perfectly fine with how corrupt the races were until she figured out that she wasn't going to get what she wanted from it. And she is admittedly only interested in money and what it can do for her. Good family, my ass. Sorry. But she just acts so superior and entitled, and her bigotry is unacceptable. If you notice, her disapproval is always directed at locals, and I really don't get what her problem is with everyone. They were all perfectly polite and respectful to her, and yet she makes derogatory statements about them the second they're out of earshot. In my opinion, she's spoiled and classless. And Frederick is coming across as weak and just as self-serving as Catherine. He drinks incessantly, irresponsibly, lives far beyond his means. He's sponging off his relatives with the sight drafts, and he's clearly buying friends and influence instead of being a true friend and earning them legitimately. I guess that's what you do if you don't plan to stick around. But neither of them have anything of real substance to offer, and I think it probably makes sense for them to just manipulate others to get what they want. But I'm finding it very hard to give a crap about what happens to these people. And it kind of confirms my reservations about reading this book initially. I still don't see what all the hype is about. I mean, maybe it was a revolutionary work for its time. I haven't read anything else from that period, so maybe this was an improvement. I don't know. But I would say by today's standards, or maybe just my own personal standards of ethical behavior, I don't think this story ages well. And to be perfectly honest, I am struggling to want to finish 20 more chapters of this book. I read a few of Hemingway's short stories, and I thought they were outstanding. I guess I had higher expectations for this novel, but like a former mentor of mine once, well, he used to say it all the time, expectations create disappointments. So I will try to temper my expectations so that I don't feel this much disappointment. But yeah, we're only halfway through this book, and I'm kind of already over it. But that's all I have for Chapter 20 of Book 2. We'll continue the novel with Chapter 21, A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. So please join me if you would like for more teen bedtime stories. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks for listening.